Hi guys, how are you? How's everyone? Welcome to today's live. We will be talking about code mixing and specifically when our kids code mix, when they mix languages in a same sentence or when they mix languages, in general in a conversation. How do we handle it? Is that normal? Is it a sign of confusion? So we will be addressing that today. And so if you have ever wondered, if your child mixes the languages, if it's normal, if, how do you guide them into, differentiating the languages? Do you need to guide them or not? That's another thing we will be looking at today. So we will be talking about that and about why it's normal. What happens in a bilingual child's brain when there is that code mixing? Is that something we should worry about? Or is it just a sign of, simply being bilingual? I will give you a few, tips and strategies today we will be, chatting about together. And you let me know if you have any questions, if you have any concerns. And I'm curious to know if your child mixes languages and which languages does he mix in the sentences he speaks. What kind of, funny sentence have you heard your child saying? Drop that in the comment if you have, you would like to share that with me today. So I'll start by reintroducing myself. So my name is Heba. I'm a multilingual speech and language pathologist in Montreal, and I speak and I teach as well. I do my interventions and my therapy sessions in Arabic, English, and French. I do know a little bit of Spanish as well. I am a mom of 2 daughters and they are multilingual as well, at different levels because, I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. The 6-year-old now has good proficiency in all 3 languages. My youngest, her strongest and dominant language for now is Arabic. And she is starting to code mix, which is pretty cute because you don't understand half of the things she says in English or in French, but she tries, right? She tries to repeat expressions and tries to, integrate that in our discussions as well. So let me know if you guys are interested. What languages does your child speak or mixes in his sentences? So we'll be looking at that together. We have around, 30-40 minutes to chat about this together today. So let's start off by saying that code mixing or language mixing is normal. It's normal when it comes to, children, but also as adults, we do it as well. If you hear me talking to one of my sisters, or if you, see me chatting with a friend, it'll most probably be into sometimes 3 languages in the same sentence. And that is something that's completely normal in a bilingual person's brain in general. Because what happens is when a child or a bilingual adult uses that code mixing or code switching in a same sentence, it's simply because he's using the maximum resources or linguistic resources he or she has. So it's actually a smart way to, make the message pass to the other person and all while using the maximum of knowledge the child has. Is it a sign of confusion? It's not. The child is not confused when the child mixes languages in the same sentence. I get that very often when I have parents come to me and they have a child who is showing signs of language delay or language difficulties. And one of the things they often tell me is like, oh, he mixes his languages. He must be confused. That has to have something to do with his delay or his difficulties. And in fact, the first thing I do is address that and demystify that, because it is not true that language or bilingualism or language mixing, it's not a sign of confusion. It simply means that the child, as I said, is using the maximum of his resources to convey the message, to get the message through to the other person. And so, and it usually follows a sentence structure that makes sense. It's either the sentence structure of one or the other language, or if both languages have similar sentence structures, it's usually well constructed. And so the grammatical rules are followed. And that's one sign that shows that it's not necessarily confusion, because the child knows how to construct that sentence, and he's actually doing it in a very smart way by using both like words from different languages. So yeah, it's very normal, it's even beneficial, because some studies have shown that mixing the languages when a child speaks helps the child develop his abilities in both languages. And it's also something that's normally, accepted through the bilingual environment, because by nature, as bilinguals, we might, have a tendency to code switch or mix the languages within our sentence. And that's part of who we are as bilinguals, right? And for sure, something I think address enough is the fact that different languages affect or mean different things to the person, right? It can be specific emotions that are better expressed in one language versus the other. It can also be, specific expressions of emotions, like, oh gosh, things like that. Or the expression of love, for example. You might express your love to your child in one language more than another because it means something to you at a personal level. And the same goes to different categories. Like if we take me, for example, if you ask me to explain to you how I cook a specific meal, I will probably struggle more to explain that to you in English than I would in Arabic, because I cook in Arabic more than I cook in English. So when I come to, explain to you something, I might have a hard time finding, the different words to express what I really want to explain to you in English, because all my cooking words are better, I understand, I use them more in Arabic than in English, and that's completely normal. I'm curious to know if you guys have, specific categories like that in which you use one language more than another, or maybe your child does. We often also, something we find in bilingual children is that everything that has to do with academics, like everything they learn at daycare or at school, like colors, numbers, shapes, they might be more in the schooling language or the majority language, because that's the setting in which they learned those words. And so, and that's why it's important to kind of keep in mind that the bilingual child is not two monolinguals in one, because the areas in which, or the categories in which he learns specific languages might differ from the setting in which, depending on where he learned those words. And so it's very important to keep in mind when we want to evaluate a child's language proficiency or a child's language abilities, it's very important to take into consideration all the languages and to combine the words from all the languages in all categories. And so if you're curious to know if your child does or does not show a language delay or language difficulties, you can comment the word checklist, and I will send you my free milestone checklist that you go through it from the ages of 0 to 5, and it gives you an idea of if your child does or does not show signs of a language delay or language difficulties. That being said, it's very important to read the first page, because I explain how to use the checklist properly if your child is bilingual. So yeah, and I'm curious to know if your child mixes languages all the time. Is it something that happens often? Do you hear that when your child speaks? And what languages does he mix? Are those languages similar or different? I'm very curious. Let me know. So the next topic, or discussion I'd like to have with you is, what are the biggest mistakes that parents make when dealing with code mixing? So code mixing, let me, step back and explain a little something. There's a slight difference between code mixing and code switching. When a child, or when we code switch, it means in one bunch of sentences, we switch from one sentence in one language to another sentence in another language. Or it can also be, switching a part of the sentence in one language and then switching to the other. Now, code mixing, let me give you an example. So an example of code switching would be, let's say if I say, later I'm gonna go to the supermarket et je vais acheter du pain. So I started off the sentence in English and then continued in French. Now code mixing would be using a specific structure of one language in a word in another language. It's like saying, for example, I'm gonna go, je vais aller eater. Je vais aller manger. The child could say, je vais aller eater. So that's an example of code mixing. And so both of them are normal. Both of them are completely okay. Some of the misconceptions or ideas that certain parents have is that, oh no, I shouldn't let my child code mix. This is not something that I should be accepting. The child should be able to distinguish those languages and really separate them. But by doing that, we're kind of, forcing the child to put aside half of his resources. And that's not something we want to do. We want to keep the communication efficient and easy, because that's what, that's what encourages a child to continue talking to us, to continue discussing or having the conversation with us. So in my recent post, I had asked you guys if when your child code mixes languages, what do you do? Do you A, let it slide and ignore it? Do you B, gently correct them? Or do you C, worry that they're confused? So let me know in the comments below if you would A, let it go, B, correct it gently, or C, worry because it's a sign of confusion. So most parents would think, now that I said and confirmed that it's not a sign of confusion, most parents would say, okay, either I let it go or I correct it, but how do I do it? Like, what's the best thing to do? And so in the case of language mixing, your child just said half of the sentence in one language and the other half in the other. Let's say, I want to drink halib, right? I want to drink some milk. So what do you do? What I usually recommend is, depending on your language plan, which is very important, you have to have a language plan to make sure that your bilingual parenting is intentional. That's something that is really important to address. If you go ahead and, bilingual parent, you're parenting your child in different languages and you're not sure how to, manage that, you might find yourself, or you might find a language taking over another language. So depending on what is your goal as a bilingual parent, what languages you want to reinforce, then your reaction will depend on that. If you want your child to stick to only one language, then you have to be intentional about it. Let's say your child says, I want to drink halib, which is I want to drink milk. And that word halib in Arabic was added in the middle. If you accept it, that's perfectly fine. The first step is to say yes, because you understood and because you want to show your child that you embrace his languages. So you always start positively, you say yes, okay. And then you can repeat what he said, or you can continue your discussion with the child with the target language in the whole sentence. For example, if your goal is, I want to focus only on Arabic, and your child says, I want halib, you can say, oh, okay, بدك حليب, رح أعطيك حليب. That way you just reinforced the notion of halib, that he said it properly, good job, you got it, and you just introduced the rest of the sentence in that language. This is what I mean when I say we have to try to find a way to be intentional about the language input, all depending on the plan you have. Now, if you need any, support with that plan, if you're not sure if you're planning it properly, you can contact me. You can even, DM me or comment the word plan, and I will send you the information so we can maybe work together and find a plan that would work best in your situation, because every family is different. Now, I'm wondering if that's something that you already do, to repeat in a right or in the right target language. Is that something that you already do, or do you tend to correct your child more? Would you say, no, I don't understand you? Or have you ever been maybe told by other parents or educators or whatnot, ignore the child? Don't answer until the sentence is fully in the language you want. So that is something that is very tricky, because if you are always opposing your child's language output, you're not embracing the languages, and you might be actually discouraging your child to want to speak your target language. So when your child mixes the words in one language, you have to accept it, because that's the way he normally expresses his thoughts, through that bilingual process, and that's completely okay. So embrace and then redirect. So you embrace the sentence, say, yes, I got you, I understand, and then you simply repeat the sentence with the target languages or the target language that you want to stimulate. Let me know if you've heard other recommendations or tips from other either professionals or friends about code mixing or language mixing when it comes to how do you deal with it as a parent. Let me know in the comments. So instead of correcting your child harshly, what we really want to do is, number one, yes, plan it. Know what is your goal as a bilingual parent. Do you want, is it okay for, maybe it is okay, maybe, and that's completely normal. Maybe it is okay for you to code mix with your child. And it has not been proven to lead to any negative, long-term effects on your child's language development. The fact that you as a parent code switch. If you guys have not checked it, check my new article about that topic specifically. And it really speaks, I really wrote the whole article about what happens when you as a parent mix your languages when you speak to your child. Does that affect your child or not? So one thing that did come up in researches is that for children of younger age, 1.5 to 2, one study did show that there is a temporary, how do we say this? A temporary low gain in vocabulary when it comes to over mixing your languages with your child, because the child needs to pick up on specific patterns in the sentence, in your sentence, to learn the words in those sentences. That's how children learn language in general. So they pick up those words in your sentence, and then they say, okay, this word is that, and this word means this, and this word means that. So if you over mix your languages with your child, it might temporarily decrease the speed, that's the word I was looking for, the speed in which the child learns or develops his vocabulary. But that is temporary. After the age of 2, 2.5, the child catches up and should get to the same level as a monolingual. Now, other studies didn't see that difference, didn't find those differences, that it doesn't affect your child negatively if you mix your languages in your sentences. Now, that being said, again, it's a matter of exposure. You have to expose your child to the languages so that your child learns those languages. Now, if you're dividing your sentences and the time in each language in two, and they're not always clear cut, it's okay, it's normal. But if you want to work on one language more than another, then you're working with your intention. And being intentional in your bilingual parenting is very important, mostly if you have a specific language you want to focus on, right? If you find that, let's say you're always speaking, or you're always speaking in both languages to your child, but your child keeps answering in only one language. He understands both languages, but he answers only in one language. Like, what do you do? How do you handle that? And one thing you can do is to specify intentional times in which you speak one language over another, right? You can code mix during your other routines. You can continue doing what you usually or how you usually speak during the rest of your day. But you can pick specific routines or activities with your child in which you target one language more than another. That is an amazing way, and it's called time and place. It's actually one of the 4 methods I have in my free bilingual guide. If you guys are interested, comment the word guide and you will receive it in your DMs. And so when you use time and place like that, it's a specific activity, let's say bath time. And you say, every time we have bath time, we focus only on Spanish, let's say, or we focus only on Arabic. So bath time equals Arabic. That, number 1, makes it intentional. So you have a specific intention in mind when it comes to that language. And number 2, what's amazing about that strategy is that it clarifies it for you as a parent. So you won't tend to forget, because that's something, it's not easy to remember how to talk, right? Because we talk normally, we talk, in our natural way. And if naturally you code mix with your child and your child code mixes with you when you're speaking, it's going to be hard for you to say, oh no, oh gosh, I forgot again. Like I have to focus on only one language. So if you want to do that, that's very good. Specify a time and place or a routine or an activity like bath time or in the car, in which you say this activity is only for this language. And that's going to help you expose your child to that language a little bit more and to target it in a more intentional way. Let me know if you guys have that, if you already have that in your routine, like one language for a specific activity. Maybe you already do that. Like in my case, let's say with my daughters, most of the time we speak Arabic. That's the method we have. It's what we call minority language at home, because we decided as a family that the target language at home will be Arabic because they won't hear it anywhere else. But there are specific games or specific books, for example, in which we really speak only English, because that's how it, naturally that we play that game, let's say. And so that is time and place. And that's another thing a lot of parents think, is that they only have to pick one method and that's the only method they have to follow. But the truth is, your method can be, you can have more than one bilingual parenting method. And so you can really explore those a little bit more in the guide I have for you. So simply comment the word guide and I'll send it to you. So one thing is, choose one activity for one language. Another thing you can do is storytelling. So you can pick a specific character, let's say, a plush toy or, a little penguin or something that speaks only one language. And every time he pops up, well, we can't speak. I mean, he doesn't understand. That works mostly for younger children. Older children kind of see you coming. But with younger kids, let's say 3 years of age, that might work. And so that kind of games or situations really reinforce language separation, and encourages the targeting of one language intentionally, which is not easy to do, but at the same time, it's easily integrated in your daily routines when it's well done. That's good. Let me know if that would work with your child. Let's say picking one activity per language, or would your child find it awkward? Maybe you've tried it and it was awkward. Maybe there's another way you tried and that it did work. I know I had a parent at a certain point who said that they had tried at home one language per week, and